community that we worked with was the Denver Audubon and Chatfield, which is a wildlife preserve that works with the community to come together and share the enjoyment of birds and explain why they matter. The purpose of Chatfield State Park and the surrounding area is to prevent flooding in Denver, since there are homeless and other vulnerable people, and the dam would help protect them from the floods. Also, our project genuinely tries to decrease the effects of climate change, which helps everybody.
Flooding and climate change are the natural hazards we're addressing. Climate change can create floods because warm air can hold more water. Considering the warm air is because of climate change is also leading to heavier rainfall and extreme floods in certain places.
Floods are a risk to our community because if the Audubon floods, we have a risk of losing these historic buildings. And if a flood gets too bad, people could either get hurt or even lose their lives. Along with this, it could kill a vast amount of native plants and wildlife. The cattails in the pond are taking up most of the room for native plants. They are also dying and rotting at the bottom of the pond. With the rotting cattails, a bunch of methane is produced. This causes climate change to increase, making natural hazards worse. When the rotting plants are removed, the amount of methane in the mud/soil decreases. The amount of cattails in the water is blocking the water flow between the ponds, and because of this, water is not able to get as much oxygen. If we take the cattails out and put them on informal trails instead, they will not rot. The needed for rotting water needs water. So planting native plants will help us recover from the drastic weather. This explains how climate change leads to flooding. It's because as the air gets warmer, the atmosphere can hold more water, in turn dumping more water, leading to floods.
The practice research we have conducted with our group about the issue was earlier in the year, and we were testing the water quality in the river with Kristen and Kieran. In the policy, we discussed with both Christian and Kieran about the cattail removal. We stated that once we clear out all the cattails once again, and we replace the cattails with other plant species that improve the water quality: Hornwort, blue cardinal flower, and Canadian waterweed. The reason we will be replacing the cattails with these three plants is because they are more oxygenated for the water, for one. And for two, we replace the cattails with these plants so that they won't come back and we won't have to repeat the removal of cattails every year when they come back.
Our strategy for what we are going to do is we are going to explain how we can help with making our water more oxygenated and healthy. And also the action we are going to take is to get rid of cattails and to plant more oxygenating plants like the Hornwort, blue cardinal flower, Canadian waterweed, and they will help our waters be better and healthier, and it'll help the life we have in the water as well as the life outside the water. We are trying to remove cattails to improve water health.
Over the course of this project, we have worked with many people from the Audubon, such as Kieran Fish, Emily Hertz, and Kate Hogan. We also have worked with Melissa Botchter from Denver Water and Rishant Edison from Harvest of All First Nations, Donnie Grutch from City and County of Denver, Benjamin Sharp with Chatfield, and Alicia Christine with the Art Force. Some of the 10th graders were communicating with the Chatfield State Park to get a list of native plant nurseries. They contacted all the nurseries, but since none could provide the plants we wanted, we got in touch with the Vermont Wetland Plant Supply, who shipped us the plants. Community members that we worked most closely with to take action on the low dissolved oxygen level in the pond is our issue. And we worked with Kieran Fish, Denver Audubon Nature Center naturalist, and Kristen Perchka, Denver Audubon School project manager. We worked with them by using their help to make plans and class and tested water, looked at low water areas at the Audubon to decide on our issue and strategy to resolve it. Lastly, we worked with Alicia Christine, and Kaita Skalster, who are part of Heart Force, which is where we got our funding for the plants to make the space an overall better place.
We are on the verge of solving the problem, and we currently have all the steps ready to implement. The steps are, we'll be removing a lot of cattails by hand and transferring them into a wheelbarrow, then dumping them onto informal trails to block them off. Next, we will be planting Canadian waterweed, blue cardinal flower, and hornwort. We will be taking the Canadian waterweed, planting them where the cattails used to be.
This is a cotton sack with Canadian waterweed in, along with a rock, and we throw them out as far as we can, so that way they sink to the bottom, and the roots can grow through the cotton, and the cotton dissolves.
And in the pot. The second half will be completed on the next day along with the project, and finally, when Hornwort arrives, we will be planting it on our last outdoor day.